Welcome to Tennis and Coffee. Very excited to be with you. I'm Pete from Crunch Time Coaching, if you're tuning in for the first time. And that over there was my trusty sidekick, B2. You'll be seeing him come in and out of the camera. He wants to hang out with me this morning. So that's B2. Everybody say hello to B2. He's just laying right on the table here, right beside the camera. And he's my trusty sidekick, best friend in the world. And he absolutely loves tennis. He's totally obsessed with tennis. It's like you're totally obsessed with tennis. And I see we got Tom Nordstrom. He is on the floor stretching. And he's asked me how my back is okay for me. Probably for anybody else, they'd say their back's really bad. But for me, I'll take it right now. He's on his way to play a new opponent today. Cooperative workout drills and keeping score, just like you and Jorge Capistani. Very good to see you. Okay, we got Ken Kirby coming in saying good morning. We got Sir Gordon Tanner. Now, last year, we're going to talk about Wimbledon today. Last year, Sir Gordon Tanner, everybody take a look at everybody say hello to B2 and give B2. If you love dogs and you love B2, give this video a thumbs up. B2 is actually wagging his tail because he can hear that I'm talking about how awesome he is. Yes, and there he is. He's laying down. He's so great. B2, where's your face? Anyway, there's a good look at B2. So anyway, Sir Gordon Tanner last year sent me a picture from Wimbledon with Gigi Fernandez, which is really cool. And they were hanging out with the elites of Wimbledon. So watching Brody now. Now, Brody's one of their hopefuls. And so that's really neat to see him on the tour. And if you want to know how much the Pro Tour players make, B2, let's put you over here on your trusty seat, on your sidekick seat. But Gordon, how much you know about Liam? Because I know he's had a tough go of being able to make a living on the tour, and he's an amazing player. But it looks like now he's breaking into the main draw. So it's really good to see somebody so persistent making it. I just want to acknowledge people coming in saying hello. Good morning, Bill. It's great to see you. Gordon says hello to B2. So as you guys come on in, say hello. Let me know where you're from, what your Wimbledon picks are. The whole reason I'm doing this coffee and tennis is I just want to connect with you guys, hopefully on a regular basis. Things get pretty busy. Next week, I'm going to be in Paris. Still going to try and do this, though. It might be a different time. But I thought this would be a great way for us to stay in touch. I love the totally obsessed tennis players out there and just want to stay connected to you because I love doing all my camps too, where I get to meet you guys, and it's a lot of fun. So let's see. Frank Long says, good morning, eating strawberries. Sherry says, hoping for some good B2 kisses today. Absolutely, B2 gives you kisses. It's Peter Astor from New Jersey. It's just great to see everybody. And Southport, North Carolina. And know him, helped by Samuel. Saw him play some friends a few years back. Very talented. Yes, he is very talented. We have Alan saying good morning from Dallas. Good morning, Alan. Hello from Winston. Hello, B2. All right. I love how everybody's saying hello to B2. Mark Segan, who is the creator of True Tennis VR, which Mark has actually put one of my drills into his app, which is really cool. He's on the front porch waiting for the day. Unbearably hot. Yes, it's starting to get hot here in hot Atlanta. I was remarking to my better half, Yvonne, about a week ago that I was so happy that Atlanta has not really been hot Atlanta for the summer. It's actually been very pleasant, but now we're definitely getting the hot Atlanta weather. So anyway, let's give a rundown of today's show, and then we'll get right into it. We're going to talk about Wimbledon. We're going to give a tennis lesson of the day that I call the confidence meter. You don't want to miss that. We're going to highlight some student achievements. That's one of the regular things I want to do. So if you have something that you want to share with me, definitely write it in the comments. Let me know, your wins. In fact, right now, what wins are you having out there? Are you winning your matches? Have you won a league? Have you won a tournament? So we're going to highlight some of our students. One might even come on and say hello to us live, which will be really cool. And I'm going to talk about upcoming events and courses we have. We've got some cool upcoming events and courses. And then finally, question and answer if you guys still have questions to ask after we go through all this. So anyway, let's get right into it. I'm going to pull up my banners here, and we're going to get into Wimbledon news. Wimbledon news. And first of all, what do you guys think about Wimbledon this year? Let me find the picture as I'm doing this because I want to make sure. Yeah. So one of the things I wish I could bring up, for whatever reason, this camera on my iPad's much better, but I can't share files. The other one is terrible with the camera, but it brings up files. So, that's saying you can't have everything. Where would you put it? But I want to find Federer right here. There it is. Oh my gosh. Guys, take a look at that. Let me just bring that. So to me, Federer's return, bittersweet, because doesn't he look great there? I mean, look at that. He's like the James Bond of tennis. He looks amazing in that suit. And there's Mirka looking very, very stylish as well. So they look great. Nice to see them there. And he got a bigger applause than most people playing their matches. Went on forever. It was a really cool moment. But for me, it was a little bittersweet. It's nice to see him looking so good. He looks happy. I'm happy for Fed. But I'd rather see him on the court, right? I mean, wasn't it a little bit tough for you guys? Let me know what you thought of seeing Fed out there in his suit. Again, I enjoyed seeing him. Anytime we get to see Federer, it just feels great. We all love Roger, right? But it was a little bit like, I don't know if closure is the right word, but you're just kind of like, yeah, it's really like he's done. Now he's in the suit. He's kind of like taking over the role of Rod Laver of being the Grand Poobah. Rod Laver for the longest time. Then they're still going to, of course, show Rod Laver on video too, on the TV when he comes on and is at a match. But to me, it's like now Roger is the official ambassador of tennis. And whenever you go to a tournament, hopefully he'll go to a lot of these tournaments and be in a nice suit and sitting there rooting for people. Or maybe he'll become a commentator. I don't know. What do you guys think Roger's going to do? But it was a little bit tough to see Roger there, not playing. I was like, wow, he's really not going to play again. Is this real? So anyway, let's see. He says wrong lapels. The wide only look good on the double-breasted, but excellent tailoring. Okay, so Gordon, who knows a lot about Wimbledon, says the wrong lapels, but I thought he looked pretty awesome. Glad they brought back the Russians, and the Belarusians need to a better way to indicate you're dissatisfied with the invasion of Ukraine. I agree with you. I'm not going to get too political on this whole thing, but I agree. I mean, especially if some of the Russians, they're like top 10 players. So, you got to have them play. And I agree. So anyway, let's get into more Wimbledon news here. Let's go back to my next banner. And Djokovic, we look at Federer. Why was he, one of the reasons he was invited there? They said, okay, Djokovic is Federer is the all-time leader in Wimbledon titles as far as singles for the men. But Djokovic this year is about to tie. I can't imagine him losing. He's about to tie Roger Federer for 8. Djokovic is at 7. Federer is at 8. Djokovic has also beaten Federer 2 times in Wimbledon finals. Thrilling matches. The last one Federer really should have had. It was kind of another moment that he had. Remember, he had him at the U.S. Open, and I don't know if you blew it because Djokovic had that unbelievable return down match point. but it was very similar to where Federer had him, could have, maybe should have won. Djokovic hit an incredible passing shot. Federer had a double fault. And then, he just couldn't hold on. And I think the score was like 13-11 in the fifth set. Amazing match. But now we're looking at Djokovic here. And it's kind of interesting because I've long thought Federer's my favorite player. But I've long thought, even before he's had 23, I've long thought Djokovic is the best out of Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic. I mean, he's, especially since 2010, numbers don't lie, he's dominated. Think about this stat. In 2010, if you really are questioning, like, well, how much has Djokovic dominated since 2010? In 2010, Federer had 16 Grand Slam titles. Nadal already had 9. Djokovic had 1. Now he has 23. And really, he'd have more if he didn't do the whole vaccine protest type stuff. He'd probably have 25, 26, maybe 27 by now. So, I mean, he's just really dominated since 2010. And I've long thought he's the GOAT. But I've never really thought of him as like the GOAT on grass, because his game doesn't really remind you of like who we think of as GOATs on grass. Like Federer's game looks very elegant, amazing on grass. It looks awesome on everything. But like when we think of Federer, I don't think of like, even though he was an amazing clay court player, it doesn't come to the top of my head like, oh, Federer's the amazing clay court player, like you think of Nadal. When I think of Djokovic, I'm like, he just dominates the Australian Open. He's amazing on hard courts, but he's actually about to become the best grass court player of all time. And so even though that his game necessarily doesn't look like a Federer, a Boris Becker, a John McEnroe, a Stefan Edberg, these are all the names that when I think of grass court tennis, this is the Tim Henman, although Tim Henman not even in the same class of any of those people I've mentioned, and certainly not in the class of Djokovic. But that's what I think of when I think of great grass court players. Djokovic, until he gets on grass, a lot of times he's very much a counterpuncher. He can get far behind the baseline, run side to side, get in his Gumby stances. But on grass, he uses that amazing return. He serves and volleys at the right time. His serve is way better than we think it is. And he is not afraid to come to the net. He looks to attack, and he's an amazing grass court player. His numbers don't lie. He's about to win 8 Wimbledons. So what do you guys think? Because yesterday I did a survey. I want to get your thoughts, and hopefully you'll chime in. I did a survey yesterday asking, who's a better grass court player? Is it Roger Federer or is it Novak Djokovic? And 74% said it's Federer. And I'm thinking, well, he's about to tie Federer with 8. He's beaten Federer twice in Wimbledon finals. So it's kind of hard for me to just say, yeah, Federer's a better grass court player. He looks more the style of our favorite grass court players. But remember, another one of the best grass court players of all time, also one of the best clay court players of all time, didn't really think of him as a grass court player as far as his style, but as far as he was unbeatable. Djokovic now going for his 5th Wimbledon in a row, and the first one I remember winning 5 in a row was Bjorn Borg. And Borg, if you looked at his style of play, didn't really remind you of a grass court specialist, but he obviously was a grass court specialist, and he won 5 Wimbledons in a row. Federer's also won 5 Wimbledons in a row. Now Djokovic is about to win 5 Wimbledons in a row. I think the only thing that can really stop Djokovic from winning 5 Wimbledons in a row would be an injury. Like, it could very well happen because of, the grass is slippery. One wrong move, all of a sudden you got an injury that you either have to default or you're just not the same player. Kind of what happened to Venus Williams, although I don't think Venus long-term was going to win that match anyway. But, I mean, she was playing well. She was winning. And then she fell down and she wasn't the same player. So, I mean, something like that, I don't want to happen to Djokovic, but it could. Or maybe Alcaraz learned a big lesson from getting embarrassed. Let's face it, he got embarrassed at the French Open because not only did he lose, he had to admit that he was so kind of freaked out by the occasion that he started to get cramps. And so he said it was a lot of this, being out there against Djokovic gave him cramps. Maybe, champions learn fast. So he might maybe get some redemption against Djokovic. Those are the only two possible scenarios I see stopping Djokovic from winning. So let me see your comments here. Did you see the promo? No, I didn't. Good morning. Doug says Doug is one of our totally obsessed tennis players. He's been in Cincinnati, which we're going to talk about later. He went to also TennisCon Live with Gigi, and he's also gone over to France with me and to Spain. He's an awesome guy. And Djokovic, 350 wins yesterday. 350 wins, what, on grass? Is that right? Is it 300? Is that possible to win 350 matches at Wimbledon? I can't believe that. Anyway, it's amazing. Djokovic's serve was on. That's the thing. I mean, Novak has a much better serve than I think we also give him credit for. He can really, really hit his spots. Djokovic won the final set tiebreaker in 2019. That's right. He did. No, they didn't play a tiebreaker, my friend. When he played Federer, it went to 13-11, Mr. Sir Gordon Tanner. You should know better. It was not a tiebreaker. It was not a tiebreaker. Djokovic last was 10 years ago. Wow. On center court, is that what that is? I mean, is it really 10 years ago? Remember, Henman had a great record versus Federer. Yeah, but, I mean, Federer was very, very young. So I don't know if you count that. Federer should be some president of ITF or youth training. I like that. Do you think Federer will do any announcing? I would love to see that. Something tells me he's just a little too big for announcing, although I would love to see it. Roger is a sentimental favorite for sure, but as you say, numbers don't lie, says Mark Segan. Let's see here. Good morning from North Carolina. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Peter. Was great meeting you at Gigi's camp. Yes. Thank you, Bruce. It was not a tiebreaker. Was it a tiebreaker? Guys, am I getting this wrong? Did they go 12-all and it was a tiebreaker? Am I wrong on this? If I'm wrong, I apologize. Did it actually go to a tiebreaker? Wow, that's an amazing match. Tennis Podcast noticed that Murray has changed his serve slightly. Did you notice this? Could you comment on what that happened? I haven't seen Murray play yet, although he put the beat down. We're going to talk about Murray a little bit later. Maybe I am wrong. You are. Jordan says I was there. So it went 12-12, and then they played a tiebreaker. That makes the match even better. Wow, what a match. Not the first or the last time I'll be wrong. So anyway, guys, good to see you on this podcast. I'm so glad that we are here together for my first Tennis and Coffee. The reason why I want to do this is I just want to connect with you guys on a regular basis because I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Okay, so let me go back to and see what's next on the Wimbledon news. Coco Gauff out. So it looks like a big upset, Coco Gauff going out, and I'm sure she's very upset. I saw an interview of her right before there was like the pre-tournament interview, and she was happy with how she played at Eastbourne. She said she was feeling confident. She is number 7 in the world. Here in the United States, Coco is kind of like our favorite, her and Jessica Pegula. But I think more people like Coco. She has a great personality. And, she lost first round. And that looks like a stunning upset. And she lost to a player who has not won a ton of matches in a while. However, the player she lost to, I saw Coco lose to her at the Australian Open in 2020. Does anybody know who she lost to in 2020? Who did Coco Gauff lose to in 2020? Since you all seem to know more than me, who did Coco Gauff lose to in 2020 at the Australian Open. I'm going to give you guys 1 second to comment here so we don't stall the show too much. But she lost to Kenin. Okay, so she lost to Kenin. And Kenin that year won the Australian Open. So that tells you a couple things. Number one, Kenin is capable of going all the way and beating the best players in the world, okay, when she's on. Number two, maybe Kenin Coco is not the best matchup for Coco. Maybe Coco Gauff does not match up well against Sofia Kenin. And I'm hoping that since Kenin did take out Coco, that maybe this will, re-spark her confidence in her career, because when I watched her win the Australian Open, I thought she was very exciting to watch. And I thought, wow, I hope she has a great career. And since then, she's had a lot of trouble on the tour. Okay, must be Kenin, since that's who beat her at Wimbledon. That's right. Kenin beat her at Wimbledon. You're right, Bruce. So Coco's out. What do you guys think of this? Is this a big deal or not really? Just kind of almost like a bad luck first round. I look at it. I don't really look at it as like a huge upset. I don't think it's going to affect Coco Gauff's career or her confidence too much. I think she knows that Kenin's a great player, and maybe this, especially when you have two Americans and they're familiar. See, that's how tennis can go. You can be like down the dumps, but all of a sudden you face somebody from your country, somebody you're very familiar with, and you're like, I know how to beat this player, and then you get out there in the court and the ball starts to feel familiar, and the competitive juices get flowing, and it brings back those old champion type feelings. I hope that Kenin can transfer those feelings beyond just her first round match. I watched the match. Very good tennis. I think her forehand grip is too extreme for grass. Maybe it is. I mean, certainly there's something wrong with Coco's forehand technique, and I think Bruce just hit the nail on the head. I think Coco's still going to have an amazing career, but when you see her get against the very elites, a Sabalenka, a Swiatek, they look another level above her. And I think it does come down to, lots of times in tennis, it doesn't come down to technique, but I think actually in Coco's case, it comes down to technique. Her forehand technique is awesome if we're like playing junior tennis, if we are, looking at her hit a ball. I mean, most coaches say there's nothing wrong with that forehand, but when you compare it to the best forehands in the world, on the men's and women's tour, it isn't perfect. And at that level, you have to be perfect, because when a little bit of doubt seeps into your strokes at that level, it's a big deal. And so the thing too is, I don't even know if it can be changed. She's hit so many forehands. I mean, it can be changed. It must be changed, in my opinion, for her to get to that next level. But it's going to be easier said than done, because she's just hit. Think about how many millions of balls she's hit with that forehand, and how much success she's had with that forehand. So hitting millions of balls and also having extreme success that got you to 7 in the world, that brought you to a French Open final, it's very, very tough then to actually change that, especially when that's all your body knows. So, yeah. Yes, Coco's forehand is flawed. Okay, so let's continue down my list. Now, what do you guys think about Swiatek? I think she's amazing. What's interesting is she's not very flashy personality-wise, but she's very, very, I think, sweet. I like her a lot. I think she's a very down-to-earth person. So overall, I'm a Swiatek fan. And she's reminding me of Steffi Graf in the 90s. Let me know if you guys agree, because of course, after Graf, there was Venus and Serena. And, first Venus started to dominate, then Serena dominated. We all know what they did in the game. But even when they were dominating, I didn't feel that they consistently had lightning quick blowout matches the way that Steffi Graf did. I can't remember anybody. You had Martina. She was amazing. You had Chris Evert. Amazing. But when Graf came along, I'm like, I don't remember anybody winning matches consistently so fast. And Swiatek is starting to absolutely blow people out of the water. Yesterday, she won 0-2. I watched her in Madrid. I got to go to the Madrid Open, and I watched her in Madrid play this girl who was woman, I should say, this woman who was 12 in the world, and she blew her off the court. And what stuck out to me with Iga is she is so lightning quick. She is so lightning quick. Like you watch her on TV, she looks fast. You watch her play live, you really like. She almost looks like a very sleek, thin, high performance sports car. Like she just zooms around the court, and she's also an electric car because she doesn't make a lot of noise. Like if Nadal were a car, he's a high performance sports car, but he's more like, a loud muscle car. Like I have a Ford Mustang. He's like a Ford Mustang. Like he's making the noise, and you hear him move. But she's like hovering around the court, kind of like Federer, just very smooth, quick, amazing player. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to take a look at your comments. Forehand collapse versus Swiatek. Yeah. Iga, great, and I guess full Western grip. Yeah, she's got a big Western grip, and that spin really helps her, I think. Do you really need to be a blowout winner? A long grinding match might be just as good. Yeah, but I'm just saying she is reminding me of Graf. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying she reminds me of Graf, the way she is absolutely dominating, and she's getting these matches over quick. Okay, let's take a look at this comment here. I like Iga. She's quiet. She's classy. No drama. Like a female fed. Okay, I like that. A female fed. What's not to like? Totally agree. I agree with you 100%. And I hope that more of the mainstream media starts to pay attention to her. Unfortunately, today, to make it big time in the mainstream media, you kind of have to be flashy. There's got to be something just like absolutely stand out about your personality or your looks or something like that. And it takes extreme excellence to get noticed otherwise. And Iga is starting to achieve that extreme excellence. She's starting to dominate and just, win these Grand Slams. If she wins this will be her 5th Grand Slam. I predict that the mainstream media does not start to give her due consistently until she has about between 8 and 10 Grand Slams. Then you cannot ignore her. You've got to start to really give her airtime. So I'm hoping that she continues to dominate, that more and more people continue to gravitate towards her, because I do think she's a great role model. She goes about her business. She's an amazing player. And if you just watch her tennis, I think her tennis is pretty fun to watch, guys. I think her tennis is very fun to watch. Okay. But she's never going to be out there saying crazy things, wearing crazy clothes and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Let's see. Gordon says, so great. You have it looks like the Batmobile, Gordon. I should take a picture of it for you. Where is B2? Where's B2? So B2 was here in the beginning, and now he's down here. There is B2 right by my side. He has decided to take the rest of the broadcast off. He is chilling. So there's B2. Federer wasn't immediately an icon either. That's right. You're right. Federer won quietly for a while. We forget that because he became ultimately the most beloved player maybe in the history of tennis. But I agree with you. For a while, Federer won quietly and was not really noticed. B2 seems fascinated by the broadcast. Exactly. Once Federer beat Sampras at Wimbledon, we knew he was special. That's true, but I agree with the last one that that Federer was not immediately picked up. B2 sponsored by Nike. He's absolutely sponsored by Nike. In fact, he's laying on his Rafa Nadal Academy jacket that I got him. Okay, let's go to the next thing. Oh, where did you know what? Okay, that's later. Okay. How did I not put this in? I made a mistake, guys. So the next thing we're going to talk about, go back to the comments here. Next thing we're going to talk about that I did not put on the list, which I am mad at myself for, but that's okay. We can all keep up, is the match of the day. Before we get into the lesson of the day, the match of the day is Murray versus Tsitsipas. I want to have your thoughts. In fact, I'm gonna have to create a banner on this because it is a big deal. Murray versus I might spell Tsitsipas wrong. I hope I don't. I think I have it right. Tsitsipas, add banner. Let's get into this. This is what we're talking about right now. Murray versus Tsitsipas. Want to get your thoughts on this because, you know, the ranking, the age, everything should be in Tsitsipas's favor. I almost feel that Murray is the favorite for this match. I feel that Murray is the favorite in this match. It's Wimbledon. You know, Murray is accepted as a Brit there. He's won Wimbledon. He's won the Olympics there. And his confidence is sky high. He absolutely dominated his first match. And he said that he has not felt this good in years. That is all not good news for Tsitsipas, who is going through some kind of mid-career. You have midlife crisis. I think Tsitsipas is having a mid-career crisis. He is. I thought this a couple of years ago. Tsitsipas, if you guys remember, he was working extremely hard. He was winning a ton of matches. He was winning a ton of important smaller tournaments. But when he got to the French Open final and was up 2 sets and he lost, I think that really did something to him. I don't know if that did something to his focus or his confidence or both, but he has not been the same player since. I don't know what is going on, but I'm worried for Tsitsipas as far as he just seems to be playing without the passion that he used to play with, without the confidence. I'm worried about a burnout because he was pushing so hard, guys. He was really, really pushing. You know, think about if you were sprinting and you were trying to win a race. You can only sprint for so long before you get exhausted. And you know, you look at him, and he's still relatively early in his career. But remember, these guys have been hitting tennis balls like machines since they're probably like 5 years old. So, you know, Tsitsipas has been doing this for a while, and there's something going on there with him because I know Dominic Thiem is a great name in tennis and he's done a lot of great things, but those two went 5 sets, and I don't think Dominic Thiem at this point is anywhere near the player he was when he started to challenge. Again, kind of very similar scenario. He did end up winning a US Open, but he beat Zverev and it was a choke fest. But you know, I thought he was really in his prime when he started to challenge Nadal for the French Open finals. And he beat him a couple times in warm-up tournaments, but he never beat him at the French Open. And I feel that, and obviously the wrist injury, okay, the wrist injury along with that, kind of the beginning of the end for Dominic, unless he can somehow pull it together like Murray's doing. But I picture Murray as the favorite. What do you guys think? Let's see here. Tsitsipas seems to get stronger mentally to finish matches, or he needs to get stronger, or he's getting stronger mentally. I don't think Tsitsipas is getting stronger mentally. I think it's the opposite. Gordon says Stefanos has lost his focus. And he says Sir Andy will win in 5 sets. Sherry wants to know how many countries I've been to. I've been to Australia. I've been to Spain. I've been to Paris. I've been to, you know, then like local little countries around here, Jamaica, Bahamas, things like that. So, yeah. And I've been to the U.S. All right. Let's see here. He needs to, he needs to drop the dad as a coach. Too much drama. But good job with Pedrosa. Okay. I think you're right. You know, I think that the dad really lately, I mean, for a while, but now that Tsitsipas is a man, he's not a kid anymore. And there was one match that Tsitsipas was playing to where there was a mic near the dad. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but there was a mic near the dad. I mean, the dad really is very vocal. Like, he almost yells at Tsitsipas on changeovers the entire time. And a lot of times Tsitsipas is sitting there drinking his water, trying to ignore it. Tsitsipas got a bad name because of all the coaching allegations. Remember the whole locker room gate with the cell phone, and then the dad left as soon as Tsitsipas went for a change and all that kind of stuff, or he was on his phone. Anyway, Tsitsipas, I believe him when he says, look, my dad might be coaching me, but I tell him to stop. I don't want him to coach me. And why I can really relate to that is probably, believe it or not, my least favorite time playing tennis was in college, because I did not like the coach coming up to me. It was a new thing. I was always used to playing matches by myself. I hated, because I'm a people pleaser, I hated when my college coach would come to the fence and I'd be down and losing, and I'd have my own ideas of how I wanted to play the rest of the match. But then sometimes the coach would have a different idea. And now you have this pressure of, like, do you do what the coach wants, or do you do what you feel you want to do? And lots of times you don't end up playing as well, even if the coach might have been right. Maybe the coach was giving me better advice than I was giving myself. I don't know. But it's hard when you're out there in the heat of battle to listen to somebody, then feel that pressure, like, okay, especially when it's your dad, who's obviously a very dictating, domineering personality. Now you're like, okay, I want to do this, but my dad's telling me to do that. I mean, I agree. His dad worries about Paula. That's funny. I don't know. Did he actually say that? He probably did. I like Tsitsipas, but he's too busy on Insta posting pictures with his girl like every 5 minutes. Yeah, so that's another thing that can really get to a tennis player. It doesn't really lend to a great social life, unfortunately. So that could be tough with Paula and him. Especially, they could both kind of look at each other, because they've both been so close, but haven't really, really made it the way that I think they could and they should. They might look at each other and go, you know what, we're having so much fun together. Gosh, like, we've both grown up as kids, just working our butt off, and let's just have fun. Like, we're both tired of doing it. I'm not saying they're going to retire, but I think it is going to affect their results. Could do with a good month of medication, and could a good month of medication and focus help Tsitsipas? Maybe, but I think, unfortunately, really, for these poor players, the best way to really get results is to want to be on the court and want to practice like crazy and be obsessed with every little facet of the game. That's what Djokovic did to really get to that next level. He just, I remember being at Indian Wells when he was number 1 in the world, and he was the only guy who every day had 2-hour practice sessions scheduled on the schedule. I don't know if he actually went and did them all, but I think really it just takes being super hungry and wanting to be out there all the time and wanting to get better all the time. That's kind of what Carlos Alcaraz seems to be. That kind of seems the mode that he's in. And I think he has that personality. I agree with your analysis, Pete. Andy just as a teak. I don't know what that means. I think Stefanos looks terrific. He looks terrific. He won in 5 sets against Dominic. I don't know about that, guys. Sakari, a great fighter. Sakari's a great fighter, but she lost first round too. Azarenka, she gone? Okay. Wimbledon for 2023 for Novak. I agree. Okay, let's get into the next thing here. So that was basically our Wimbledon news. Thank you for your amazing comments, guys. Now, this is a very important part because, guys, I know you all watch a lot of online instruction, and I love online instruction. I'm a big believer in online instruction. I'm a big believer in the online instructors. Otherwise I wouldn't do TennisCon. Okay, I wouldn't do TennisCon. But I do see pretty much, I think I'm near the top. I don't know. I can't say for sure I'm at the top, but I'm near the top with online instruction as far as doing a lot of in-person consistent coaching events. Pretty much every couple of weeks, I have people coming to Atlanta. And then, like I said, I'm going to Paris next week, and I'm going to do a clinic in Cincinnati where we're going to have 48 players there. And so I'm doing this on a regular basis where I'm seeing the people who love online instruction and seeing how they play. So I'm going to guess that most people on this broadcast right now are between a 3-0 and a 4-5 player. And there's probably most of you between a 3-0 and a 4-0 player. And most of you are playing doubles. Most of you are playing doubles. Okay. But what you're watching over and over again, and I think that there is a place for this, and you should be watching this and learning how to do this in your game, learning how to hit topspin, maybe changing to a semi-Western grip, learning how to hit a serve with a continental grip, learning how to hit all the serves, slice, kick, flat, all that. Trying to learn that is all very good. I'm not downing that at all. Okay. Maybe copying, you have an old school forehand, you want to learn how to hit it more like Roger Federer. Again, I think that these are all good investments of your time. So I don't want to get this confused. Does everybody write that down before I go into what I go into? Because I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I'm getting a call from somebody, but I can't answer. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. I believe in learning modern technique, learning how to hit a forehand like Roger Federer, learning how to serve the advanced way. I don't mind you copying the pros. But when you're trying to play your entire doubles match like you are Roger Federer, or like you're Novak Djokovic, or Serena Williams, or Iga Swiatek, and you're playing doubles between a 3-0 and a 4-0 level, to try and do that 2 out of 3 sets, it's most likely not going to work for you. And that's why you have to tap into something I call the confidence meter, so that you can pull out your Roger Federer, Serena Williams shots when your confidence meter is very, very high. So that's what we're here to talk about. Learn these techniques and use them when your confidence meter is high. Because remember, you're playing doubles and you're between a 3-0 and a 4-0 level. To hit a forehand like Roger Federer, right? Or Alcaraz, what does it take? First of all, what spin are they putting on the ball? What spin, guys, is Alcaraz putting on his forehand? Can anybody answer that before I go into this? What spin is Alcaraz putting on his forehand? Can anybody give me that answer? I'll give you guys a second. Again, I don't want to hold up the podcast too long, so if I don't see it, I'm just going to go into the answer. All right, 3, 2, 1. No one's answered. I think you guys do know, though. Alcaraz is hitting topspin. Yeah, there you go. Bruce got it right. Mano got it right. Yeah. He's hitting topspin. What's so great about topspin and why everybody should learn how to hit a topspin forehand is that the spin makes your shot very safe. So you can play very aggressive tennis. You can basically, when you get the concept of topspin right and your technique is correct, you can basically swing as fast as you want, and the ball is going to go over the net. It's going to go up first, so it gets over one obstacle, and then it dips into the court. That's the big advantage of topspin. Okay, so that's why topspin's so great. But what does topspin reward and require? First of all, topspin rewards acceleration, and to some degree will punish deceleration. Like the concept of spin, lots of times, like Alexander Zverev's serve is a perfect example of how, like when you hit a second serve, you need to actually maybe swing faster than your first serve when you have an advanced serve, because grabbing the strings with the tennis ball, it rewards that acceleration, and it punishes like a slower swing that's not as confident. The ball is going to fly on you. Okay, you see where I'm going with this with the confidence meter? So the pros are able to play more consistently throughout an entire match, although they still do the shots I'm going to talk about in this video. But they're able to more consistently be able to hit all out on the ball and have it go in most of the time because they play with a much higher confidence meter than us. Because to hit topspin, it requires perfect technique, which they all have. It requires impeccable timing. Impeccable timing. Why does it require impeccable timing? Because to do it really at a high level, you have to have a lot of acceleration. Topspin rewards acceleration. So coming through the hitting zone very quickly, it's going to reward that. And they're hitting, and like I said, it requires impeccable timing. And these pros, like I mentioned before, Djokovic practiced 2 hours a day, twice a day. That's how much they want to keep their timing in tune. Because to be able to go out there and do that, hit consistently like the pros, like you're trying to learn how to hit like them on YouTube, you've got to have your game absolutely dialed in. Okay. And so where I get worried for you is if you're just watching these videos and think you're going to play your entire match like a professional because you're watching these YouTube videos and they make a lot of sense and they're giving you great information. First of all, no matter how many balls that you and I hit, we're rated where we are for a reason. I was a good player, not a great player. Most people on this podcast, you are between a 3.0 and a 4.0. So yes, even though you might have better strokes than most of the people you're playing against because you're watching these videos and you're taking lessons and your technique is better, there's still probably flaws in your technique. So there's strike one on being able to go out there and just hit the ball perfectly for 2 out of 3 sets like Roger Federer, like Serena Williams, okay? Number 2 is you have to accelerate, and to accelerate, it requires impeccable timing. And most likely, you probably don't have the amount of time and training on a consistent basis that the pros are putting into the game. So they're not only are they better than we are and have better technique and better athletes and younger and all that, they also hit, maybe 30 times the amount of balls that we hit in a week's practice. So I think, and the more I see you guys come to me, not only do I think, I see it's unrealistic to coach you guys and say, well, just hit out on the ball. When if you miss a shot, just hit the next ball. And especially if you're playing doubles. So I want you to pick your times in matches when your confidence meter is high. That's when you should hit out on your shot and use your Roger Federer technique, your Serena technique, your Djokovic backhand. That's all fine. But when you start to go out there in a match, and especially if you're playing the quote unquote pusher, and you start to get nervous, acknowledge that nerves. There's nothing wrong with being nervous. There's nothing wrong with being nervous. And instead of having a conversation with yourself like, come on, hit the ball, don't be a baby, stop pushing. If you're saying all that to yourself, your confidence meter is low. And I think that is why it's so important to not only have a hitting technique, but also what I call a pushing technique. Now, a pushing technique is not being a pusher. A pushing technique can actually look quite elegant, quite stylish, and actually requires a lot of skill and talent as well. The difference is it doesn't require massive acceleration. And since it doesn't require massive acceleration, the timing, once you get the technique, is a lot easier to execute under pressure. Does that make sense? So instead of having a second serve bloop in and your confidence meter is low and you're trying to hit out on the ball in doubles, which you're not going to hit a winner anyway, being able to hit a nice little chip, short and bring your opponent in, or lob over their head, or hit a deep chip and approach the net and then volley. I think that this is a great investment in your time. You're not looking these videos up on YouTube because you guys don't want to see them. You're not typing it in. You're not typing in, how to hit an old school chip and charge forehand. You're looking, no, you're you want to learn the new stuff. I don't blame you. You're typing in how to hit a forehand like Roger Federer, how to hit a serve like Carlos Alcaraz, how to hit a backhand like Serena Williams. This is the stuff you're typing in. You're not looking up what I'm telling you, but I'm telling you this is going to serve you at a much higher level consistently, especially in your doubles matches. Because even if you hit out on the ball and you hit a great shot, you're certainly not hitting it as hard as Roger Federer and Serena Williams. You're just not. And so a lot of times you're actually giving the perfect ball for your opponent. People love, would you rather hit a ball with solid pace coming right into your waist? Answer this question. Would you rather hit a ball with solid pace coming right into your waist, or would you rather hit a ball that's coming slow and high and bloopy and gets above your backhand shoulder? What would you rather deal with? I know the answer. You'd rather hit a ball that's coming at you solid with good pace. Would you rather have to hit a passing shot at a ball that comes right at your waist, or a ball that you have to pick off your shoelaces, that you have to bend down below your knees, or a ball that you have to run forward for near the net? You would much rather hit a passing shot off a solid ball. And I'm telling you, it's really affecting your game in a negative way, because I can see that very few people, the people that are coming to me week after week, I can see them starting to get the technique. Everybody's working on the forehand and the backhand topspin, which is great. And you're starting to get that technique, but it's certainly not even near baked in. It's not even near close to perfect. We improve it a lot when you come train with me. I show you the things you're doing wrong. But I can also see you're not at all working on how to hit a forehand slice. Barely anybody knows how to do that. Unless you already have a good one-hand chip, if you've got a two-hand topspin, or, very few people have a nice solid one-hand slice backhand. And where you're losing most of your matches is in the midcourt with approach shots and volleys. You just don't know how to hit those. And this is where you need to spend the biggest investment of your time. So when your confidence meter is low, you feel that you have a 10-speed bike that you can ride around the tennis court, rather than having one gear that you're stuck into. Most of you are stuck into fifth gear, or at least that's where your head wants to play, but you can't even get to fifth gear. And so it's really affecting your performance on court, and you're losing matches that you could easily win. And here's the thing about a confidence meter. A confidence meter goes up and down, even for the pros within a match. So just because your confidence meter is low, at 3-2 in the first set, it doesn't mean it can't be high at 4-2 in the second set. You see? So, it can fluctuate. And the more you can tap into it quickly and go, okay, I feel confident, I'm going to go for my shot. Because even if I miss, it's not going to destroy my confidence. We know as tennis players, lots of times we can be very, very fragile. Okay, even the pros, if you watch Break Point, they are very fragile mentally. Even the ones we admire the most, they are very fragile mentally. Tennis can really mess with your mind. So you've got to be able to tap into that confidence meter and go, okay, I feel great. If I take my whack at it and I miss, I'm still going to feel good about myself. I'm not going to beat myself up. That's when you should go for your shot. Okay, don't go for your shot when you're like, come on, you suck, hit the ball. Like, you're not going to make the shot. There might be a couple of you who can actually yell at yourself to hit the ball and tell yourself you suck, and then that actually makes you play better. But for 90% of us, that makes you play terrible. And you keep getting worse and worse, and your stroke deteriorates, and then you end up in what I call tweenerville. You're trying to hit the ball. You don't want to push the ball, so you're tweening it, and your stroke gets very, very nervous looking, kind of like we see Alexander Zverev get, especially years back when his serve started to go through the yips. That's what happens to you, but even at a much bigger level, because we're not pros like he is, okay? So tap into that confidence meters, guys. Okay, very cool. You know what? Bashkar never showed up on my live stream. I was going to have Bashkar on my live stream. Anyway, let's read your comments, and then we're going to go into some student highlights. Let's see here. Top spin, perfect timing. So if we don't have impeccable timing and technique, I gave you the answer. That must have been early in the lesson. Even if your technique and your movement is perfect, you may have flaws in your tactics or your mental game. That's true, but a lot of the times the tactics are, especially, you're watching a lot. Oh, Bashkar is there. Bashkar, I'm going to bring you in the second, buddy. I'm going to bring you in a second. Top spin machine is not good, but great. You don't really need to have flashy shots. Just needs to be setting up. Great advice, pushing technique. This is exactly why you're the best coach online by a country mile. Goat Pete. Oh, thank you. Gordon's just giving me all kinds of flowers right now. Bruce is saying, totally agree. I like to skid it low, especially on that grass. Gordon Tanner's got a grass court in his backyard. Maybe one day we'll all run a camp at Gordon's place. What do you think about that? But Pete, what if I actually do suck? Don't say that. But I would tell you to really work on your chipping technique. I find it hard to be an issue because you get low pace balls, which require constant back and forth. Okay, cool. Now, guys, the next thing we're going to get into is we're going to get into student spotlight. And I'm going to bring on, I have a couple of things. And if you guys are watching this and you are on my email list, email me pictures, email me results. And on this live stream, as we're going through, we're talking about my friend Bashkar here. And then we also have Julia and Josie. We're going to talk about them as well. If you have great accomplishments, let me know them. And we will put you on the live stream. We will share your pictures. We will share your success. Because again, this is one of the things I want to do on a more consistent basis because you guys inspire me the most out of any tennis player. All right. So I'm going to add to our stream. Bashkar, can you hear me? We cannot hear you. Wait, maybe I turn up my volume. Can you hear? Try again. No, there's no sound. Until Bashkar gets a sound right, I'm going to, first of all, talk about him a little bit. So this guy right here, over to my right hand, he has joined us in Atlanta. He's come to Atlanta. He's come to Cincinnati. And he's going to go to Cincinnati again to the Masterclass Clinic. And he improved so much from the time I met him until now. It's amazing. Like last year at our Masterclass Clinic, clearly the most improved player. And what I was going to tell you is he just played a Play Your Court bracket challenge in where he lives up in New York, New Jersey area. He won his county Play Your Court bracket challenge. He had to play 3 matches and he won them all. And he had to win. He won a tough one, 7-5, 7-6, won 7-1 in the tiebreaker. That lets you know he really gets clutch. And then he won like 1-1, like Iga Swiatek. And he also won a match. His final was 6-4, 6-1. So let me try it again, Bashkar. Give us one more try with your voice. We cannot hear you. I'm going to show. Yeah, I cannot hear you. I'm going to take you off the stream. But that's Bashkar. And I'm going to show you, since we can't hear him, he did send me a dashing picture. He sent me a dashing picture. Let me see if I can find it. I want to show it to everybody. Of course, my computer now is bugging out on me. But I want to bring that up. Everybody congratulate Bashkar. And my computer's not opening up. Let's see here. You're so welcome. Pace at the waist. Playing 75 minutes on grass. It's heaven. Gordon's going to play on grass. Oh, come on, computer. What are you doing? Okay, cool. Computer's back up. I'll find my picture of Bashkar here for you guys because I want to at least show you this amazing dashing picture he sent in. There it is. Oh, my gosh, Bashkar, you look so good. And then we'll try one more time with the sound. But there is Bashkar. Awesome. He's in all his Fed gear. He's a big Fed head. I think he started to really get into tennis around COVID time. And he's done an amazing job. We'll try one more time, Bhaskar, and then if we don't have sound, we'll just try another time. Bhaskar, do you have sound? No, no sound. Darn it. No sound. He's a techie too. All right. Next time we'll try Bhaskar. Got a question. How do you reduce rage on court? Now, here's a good one. This is a great question. Do you know who has rage on the court? Novak Djokovic. He loses his stuff out there sometimes, but he's one of the most mentally tough players of all time, if not the most mentally tough player of all time. And he just gave great advice. He said, he's like, you can't stop going into ruts, losing focus, getting mad. That's going to happen. He's like, but I find that for me and the great ones, it's how long we allow it to take over. So let yourself get mad. Let yourself have rage. Whether you just keep it internally and you're not yelling it out, but you have internal rage, let that happen. That's probably the best to have. Because then you're playing more poker. You're not showing your emotions. But if you're a player that sometimes has to blurt out something just to get some tension out, that's okay. But it's how long do you stay in that? How long do you wallow in that rage? So that's really the key. If you can learn how to do that, then that's great. Let's see. The way I have found to overcome self-defeat is to decide to commit to competing this point forward, regardless of the internal monologue or disappointment. Good advice, Netcord Nick. Okay, so I want to do another spotlight, and then I want to get into upcoming events. So Bhaskar, he's come to our hyper-focus camp. He's come to Cincinnati. Let me know, comment below if any of you guys are interested in going to the Western Southern Open. We're doing that next month. To me, that's my favorite tournament in the United States. I like it better than the U.S. Open because the viewing is much better, and it's a Masters 1000 tournament. Okay, let me okay. This is a great picture. So right here, and this encapsulates their personality. This is Josie and Julia. They are the best players right now at 3-5 in the I think Intermountain division in Colorado. They've won a tournament, they've won their division, and they're ranked the best team. And they said that they really kickstarted their success after coming to one of my camps. And so I wanted to highlight them. They just won a title, a team title with their team. They look like they have a great team. That's what it's all about. And let me see if I can find their team photo. That's a cute picture. I'm not going to show that one though. Let me find another one. Oh yeah. Look, here is their team photo right here. USTA League District Champions. So I want to congratulate them, give them a huge shout out, let them know that Coach Pete is super proud, and I'm glad that I could share in your success. And I asked, how did your team win? What did your team do better than the other teams? And what did you guys do? And she's like, really, me and my partner, we just became super consistent at the baseline. She's like, in general, our team is super consistent at the baseline, and we are very effective at the net. And that's kind of what I talked about earlier in this broadcast. Of course, at times, I think it's fun and necessary to wail away on the ball and pretend. And the more you can actually pretend and imagine that you're your favorite player, I think you're going to hit better shots. So I'm all for emulating the best players in the world and going for your shots. That's not what I'm trying to take away, but I just want you to have a high confidence meter when you do it. But what is winning at the 3-5 level and dominating? Because they dominate. They barely have lost a match. They might not have lost a match. Being consistent at the baseline, and when they get volleys at the net, they put them away. Simple. To win at 3-5 doubles is very simple. Just be solid at the baseline. Learn how to hit the ultimate rally ball. High loopy balls. I know that's not exciting, but high loopy balls that the opponents can't poach on. When you get short balls, occasionally come in and hit it, but lots of times chip and charge to the net. That's going to be your best formula. And one thing is here's another thing that might be a little controversial. I don't necessarily know and think it's necessary to change to a continental grip at a 3-5 level to win and hold serve. You might not need to change your grip. But to win at 3-5 in doubles, you absolutely have to have a continental grip on your volleys. You have to. You see, we always think we must change our grip on our serve and that the continental grip is wrong or is correct on the serve and the frying pan grip is wrong on the serve. To me, the frying pan grip is right until it's wrong. To me, at 3-0, it's right. You're going to win a ton of matches just doing this. At 3-5, it's right. At 4-0, and I hate to distinguish, but it's true, at 4-0 women, this is still lots of times right. But at 4-0 men, this starts to become a liability. And once you, especially if you want to play with solid 4-0 men who can actually go out there and play with 4-5 men, you need a continental grip on your serve at that point. Then this becomes wrong and this becomes right. But very quickly in tennis, doing this at the net, unless you're going to stay right on top of the net, this becomes wrong. You want to learn a continental grip on the volley as fast as possible. You don't necessarily need to learn it as fast as possible on the serve. But you absolutely, to survive out there and to win out there, you need to get comfortable with a continental grip on your volley. And a lot of you still are not. So that is it. Okay. So let's see here. I think, Pete, I'm fixed. My mic. Okay, let's have Bashkar. Let's add him in. Bashkar? No, you're not fixed. Jeez, just forget it, Bashkar. I love you. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Okay, we tried. Maybe it's my fault. I don't know. I'll just blame me. I love to take the blame. All right, that's what coaches do. All right, let's get into upcoming events and courses. So let's get into challenges first. In a couple of weeks, we're going to do our 7-day power generator challenge. So if you do want to learn, if you do feel like, Pete, you know, I hear what you're saying about the confidence meter and everything, but I literally have no firepower in my game. I know I can hit a forehand harder. I know I can hit a backhand harder. I know I can hit a serve harder, you know, and even hit my volleys more solid. That's what the 7-day power generator challenge is about. So make sure you're checking your email because that's going to be at the end of this month. And then next month, I'm doing something I'm really happy and excited about. I'm going to do a 7-day beautiful tennis challenge because it is my belief, and not even my belief, I know that everybody is capable of developing perfect technique on every single shot if you go through the right process. The problem is most people don't know how or are unwilling to do this. So I got the idea of the 7-day beautiful challenge from, let me put that there, the 7-day beautiful challenge from one of my students. He said, Pete, it's like, you know, I really don't care if I win or I lose. I just want to play beautiful tennis. And I realize that so many of you want to do that. And that's really, I love to win matches, but beyond winning matches, I love the art form of tennis. You know, tennis is a very beautiful sport when it's done right. The ultimate example is Roger Federer, right? I mean, he looks like an artist out there, like, Baryshnikov of tennis. And so we're going to go in August. I'm going to build a 7-day beautiful tennis challenge for you. And then after that, to end the year, TennisCon 7. So what I want to, if you don't know what TennisCon is, I get the best coaches on the planet like Gigi Fernandez, Essential Tennis, Top Tennis Training, my man Maribon, Fuzziola Balls, Racket Flex, Ryan Reedy from 2 Minute Tennis, one of my favorite coaches out there. And they all submit great instruction to help you hit a bigger and better ball and play smarter tennis as well. So TennisCon 7 is awesome. However, I would love it because now I'm noticing there's more and more coaches on Instagram. I'm a YouTube guy, but I noticed there are way more coaches on Instagram, on TikTok. There's more coaches making podcasts. And I know that you guys are obsessed with the game. So if you could write in the comment section or email me some of your favorite podcasters who are in tennis, some of your favorite TikTok tennis players, some of your favorite Instagram tennis players. If there's a new YouTuber that you don't think I know about, let me know who your favorite coaches are that I might not know about, or that you notice that are not part of TennisCon, and I will invite them to be part of it. I went out to dinner a couple weeks ago with some of my hyper-focused students, and they pointed out some new podcast people they were listening to and everything, and I felt bad. I didn't know who they were. So, but I'm sure that they're great. So I'm going to see right now if you guys do have anybody. Oh, look at that. Maribon says mine is Peter Freeman. Aw. Maribon, you interview lots of great tennis instructors. Can you list some new people maybe that you're interviewing that you think are great and should be part of TennisCon so we can get this party started? Pete showed me the Stolly serve, perfect serve and volley, old school. Yes, absolutely. Do you recommend weightlifting? I recommend light weightlifting, light weights, a lot of reps. That's what I recommend. Okay, let's see what else, you guys. Anybody else? Love that crazy Ukrainian coach. He is fantastic. Who is he? I don't know who you're talking about. Who is a crazy Ukrainian coach? What about you, Bhaskar? Comment. Do you have anybody that you like? I know Bhaskar is still behind the scenes watching and listening. Write a comment. Do you have anybody? Let's see. We'll add him one more time to say, Bhaskar, can we hear you?
Yes, I think it should be working now.
How did you do it?
Yeah, I think I did unmute press the unmute button, so it was still mute. I didn't see that, so and that was the problem.
You should be embarrassed because Bhaskar is actually a techie.
Sometimes it happens, Pete. Like I can't help it what you do. And thank you, Pete. It's great. It's great to be on this live stream, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to be here. Like you already know, like I started my tennis journey like during the COVID time, and also like I was through a depression phase. Like I lost my dad during that time, and that's one of the reasons. Like I just wanted to channelize and get out of depression. And I picked tennis, and still I remember I met you for the Hyper Focus camp in 2021, and where I came like without knowing what grip to hold, like for what shot and all those things, and scooping my forehands, and your instructions, like, and especially the Hyper Focus camp was an eye opener for me to say like to distinguish, right, like what I thought I was doing, then like what I was really doing, right? I was able to see that difference in, and also like I love the Cincinnati Masters Clinic. Every year you have it, and I'll be meeting you in a few weeks there, so I'm pretty much excited.
No, that's great. I mean, yeah, you inspired me. I remember we were, I think we were having a dinner or lunch or something. I remember we were talking in private, and you told me that story about your dad and how you got involved in tennis and to kind of get over that depression. I think one of your friends said you got to do something. You got to get out of this. And,
yes.
and you decided tennis, and that really inspired me. And you know, you're a perfect example of. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You know, I feel that tennis is focusing on the wrong people. And it's one of the reasons that pickleball is starting to kick our ass, to be quite frank, is, you know, we focus so much on the pro game. Like we idolize the pros. And then we also spend a lot of marketing dollars, and we tend to take our junior tennis players very serious. You know, but the problem with that is, you know, who supports the pros? Who fills up the stadiums? It's people like us who are the fans. It's people like you who got inspired to play. You're more important than the pros, because if you don't go watch, if you don't spend dollars on them, it doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't matter how good at tennis they are. And junior tennis players, lots of them get burned out by the time they're 21, 22, 23. It's the players like you who pick tennis up and catch fire with it that are going to love this game forever. are going to play forever, going to support the game, going to support clinics, going to support leagues, going to support tournaments. You are the and the amount of time and effort and energy and passion that you put in the game, you guys focus more. You're easier to coach than juniors, because the people who focus on tennis online and then they want to come travel and train with you, you guys are different animals. That's why I call you totally obsessed tennis players. So I just want to thank you for all your passion, and you guys, Bhaskar, you totally inspire me. Like, you're like the poster child of the totally obsessed tennis player.
Sure, thank you so much. And it was great, like, working with you at the Hyperfocus camp, as well as, like, I love coming back to Cincinnati every year. So I used to ask you, like, when are you going to open the counter for the next year? So that's how excited I'm with that event and to work with the team. So it's a pleasure to be on this live stream, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to be here.
Yeah. So
you're
welcome. The Federer, yeah. The Federer, yeah, looks good, buddy. So you know what I'm going to do while I have you on? You can maybe tell people about it. We have literally, this is not a sales pitch. It is, but it isn't. But I mean, I only have 1 or 2 spots for the first weekend, and 1 spot for the second weekend of the Masterclass Clinic. And I'm going to bring up the website. So if you guys have gotten an email lately, we'll just go over it. But again, Bhaskar can kind of talk about this tournament. So this is the web page. And there's Federer. We saw Federer play, didn't we? Have you seen Federer at the Western Southern Open?
No,
I've seen him, but you didn't get to see him.
No.
I got to see him a couple of times. I saw Serena as well. So the two are probably the biggest legends in the game. We have 24 spots total. And can you talk a little bit about your experience? Because we have, like, it's indoors. We have 5 or 6 coaches. Talk about the coaches at the camp.
It's nice. The facility itself is really good. It's like air-conditioned indoor courts, and the different drills on the different courts that happen, and moving people across to go through, and focusing on one specific aspect on a session, and like even like for forehands and like even backhands, like taking the videos and sharing your thoughts on the technique, on the swing. It's really great when it comes to like focusing on your technique. And also I love the facility itself. Like, it looks like a resort rather than like a typical tennis club, with the cabana bar and the swimming pool and all those things. Like, I love the facility. And also, like, get an opportunity to watch the tournament, right, up close, the pros. And it's a really great tournament where you can just see the pros like real close rather than the big opens. I love it. Like, it's good. And the way the course curriculum has been structured, it's good. It focuses on all the aspects of tennis which you really wanted to improve. And it's greatly structured and scattered through the different days. And this time I'm really excited to play the Harper's Cup. I just can't wait to be there in a few weeks.
Well, we can't wait to have you, Bhaskar. And what he's talking about there, you see, I don't know if you guys can see that picture. Got to get the better lighting, but there's a picture of the Cabana Bar right there. Yeah, I think you can see it better now. The Cabana Bar and the pool, like he said, it's like a resort. And we play indoors, which is nice, in August. So we're playing on indoor courts, and we go to the Western Southern Open. And here's the thing, guys. You don't know if they're going to make a tournament better when they move it. They moved the Miami Open, and I hear that tournament it's not near as nice as when it was in Key Biscayne. I went to it when it was there. It was awesome. I've heard people say, I think it's now like the stadium. Unfortunately, there's heavy rumors, and they're probably true, that the tournament is either going to be leaving Cincinnati in 2025 or 2026. And I feel that I've been to Indian Wells. I've been to Miami, here in Atlanta, DC, US Open. The Western Southern Open is my favorite tournament because it's a Masters 1000. You're going to see all the men, all the women play, and every single court, the spectating is amazing. Last year, were you with me on Sunday night when we saw Musetti play Lajovic?
No, I came on Thursday, the second half of it.
Oh, but you're coming the first. So last year, that's why you're coming the first weekend. Sunday night, we saw Musetti play Lajovic, and it was like this. It would be like going to one of your league matches. Like we were against the small little fence,
Nice.
you know, and we're just like it would. I mean, it would be like showing up to one of your matches, except for watching like mouth-watering backhand slices and topspin rallies going cross court. And
Well, Pete,
so
this time I'm going to be there for 10 days, so probably I'll just watch all the excitement. I'll not miss anything.
yeah, I love going to this tournament because you just see so many amazing players. So if you guys want to go, let me know because I only have a couple spots left. And then also my hyper focus camp, which Bishkar's also been to. I have one spot at the end of July and one spot first week of August. And I'm not doing another one until September. So, and that's where we just have 4 players, and it's heavy focus on technique. You're going to film everything on your phone. So you're going to be filling up this phone with your video of you playing. I ask you to give me feedback on what you're seeing, and then I give you my feedback, and then we build every single stroke in progression so that you can develop what I call picture perfect technique. And I teach you picture perfect technique on topspin forehands and backhands, slice forehands and backhands, so you can learn how to push and chip, return of serve, fast serves, slow serves, your serve technique. We spent like a whole morning on learning how to serve properly, and then also learning how to serve better with the technique you already have. So it's a great camp. It's moving to Charlotte, closer to you, which is great. But I'm telling you, man, I hope they do it justice, because Cincinnati did it justice. It was an amazing facility. Okay, let's see here what we have. And let me know if you know any of these people. So Maribon says that he likes Will Buchek in doubles. Have you heard of him?
No.
No. So he likes him. And this player, this coach here, Ela. Have you heard of this coach?
No.
I'll have to look them up, get them on TennisCon. I agree. Totally obsessed tennis players are much easier to teach than juniors who may not love it as much, but are pushed by their parents. Absolutely, Bruce. Let's see what else you guys have. See you in Cincinnati. All right, see you in Cincinnati. And what do you know about tennis in Pine Mountain, Georgia? My grandkids live there. I don't know much about tennis there. So, guys, that is pretty much it. Bishkar, I'm going to say goodbye to you and thank you for showing up and take your time out of your day.
Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be here, and it was a pleasure to be here. And see you soon in a few weeks at Cincy.
All right. Congratulations on your win and play your court. It's really awesome, and I can't wait to see how much you've improved this year, because last year you blew my mind. Your strokes were absolutely gorgeous last year. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, Pete.
All right, Bishkar. Take care.
Take care. Have a nice day.
Okay, so that's Bishkar, absolutely amazing guy, as you can see. And if you want to send in pictures, even maybe come on as a guest, you're welcome to do so. I'm going to be in Paris next week. I'm going to try and find a time. Hopefully I can keep it on Thursday. I don't know. It might be a different time, but maybe not. But I'd love to do a live stream out there just to keep this kind of consistent. So that's my goal. You know how goals are. You know, sometimes you can meet them, sometimes you can't. I have so many different events coming up. I'm going to try and do this on a weekly or at least bi-weekly basis to where we can check in with each other. Let me know what you thought of this live stream. And if you have any questions, write them down now. We can have a little bit of a Q&A session before I leave. I'll look for some of your questions up above. I know you guys asked some questions up higher. Let's see if I can find one. I answered, do you recommend weightlifting? Let's see what else. Accepting the challenge. We talked about the frustration part of tennis. Just sent an email, says, Peter, what if you can't have any rage? We talked about rage. Okay. I think that I've answered all your questions. Peter says, gotta go. Thank you so much. Gotta go. Thank you so much. Berrettini. All right. Is he going to play Rune? Is that what you're saying? Berrettini through. TennisCon needs Ukrainian guy. Okay. I will look him up. I'll try and get him on. What's going on with FAA, Felix? And who's MO? Who's I don't know the first one. Maybe write his name out. But yeah, Felix is going through some things. I don't know. One person made a great comment because I asked, well, what's up with Felix? I made like a little YouTube short. And one person I think nailed it. They said he's too mechanical. You know, he has perfect technique on every shot, but if you really look at it, it's maybe too mechanical. Maybe there's not enough flow. He seems to just lack that feel, you know, like he'll double fault even though his serve looks amazing. He'll miss approach shots. He'll flub volleys. So, yeah, Felix is going through some things. I don't know. And I would think kind of the opposite of Kyrgios, where Kyrgios didn't try hard enough to get the most talent out of himself. Felix might be trying too hard. I can't imagine this guy not working hard. He seems to have an amazing work ethic. He seems like a great kid. If anything, he might be putting too much pressure on himself because everybody had such high hopes for him and he's not able to break through. So my guess is I love the idea that somebody came up with. Maybe he's almost too mechanical. That might be holding him back, and that he is maybe trying too hard and putting too much pressure on himself. Matteo, what's going on with Matteo? Yeah, Matteo Berrettini. I mean, he did win here, but he has been having a lot of tough time too. And I don't know what the issue is there. I don't know if it's been injuries or whatever. But yeah. All right. Any other? I'm going to have Maribon send me those names. So before we go. Oh, look at this. Mariana's on. She goes, if you haven't gone to the Hyperfocus camp, you must try it. Best money I've ever spent on some tennis lessons. That is a great. Well, you know what? Hold on, because I got to give a shout out to Mariana. So hopefully you're still watching, Mariana. She's making towels for my Hyperfocus camps from now on, and for our Cincinnati thing. So it's a little bit of a spoiler. You'll see what she's going to make, but she hasn't made the design on the Masterclass Clinic. But it's really cool. Hold on. Okay, so Mariana, for our Hyperfocus camp that she came to, made everybody an awesome towel. Can you see that? So look at that, totally obsessed. Beautiful. And what this is, these towels are meant to get wet so you can cool yourself off in between changeovers. And then you can show your opponent how you got so good with the cool, totally obsessed Crunch Time Coaching logo. You can let them know you're totally obsessed. So Mariana made those for us, and she's going to make some towels for all our Hyperfocus camps from now on, and for our Cincinnati clinic. So I just want to thank her for that and give her a little bit of a shout out. Okay, let's see what else. Don't know if tennis conners are college tennis fans like me, but I would like to see a top college tennis coach. Okay. Maybe if they could translate it on how maybe to coach, your team or your doubles strategy, I think that would be actually pretty good. Because that's really where I learned how to play doubles, was playing college tennis, Oh, you're the best, Pete. Okay, guys, I think that is it, because I don't see many questions coming through. So I guess we've had a good chat today, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in maybe the comments after this if you enjoyed this hangout of tennis and coffee. I'm going to try and do it Thursday mornings. I'm full disclosure, I don't know how consistent I'll be just because the schedule's crazy, but my intent is to be consistent and to meet with you guys at least on a bi-weekly basis, but I would like to do it every week if possible. You guys take care. Have a great one. And take care.